good news is hell is the product of a morbid human imagination. Okay? The bad news is whatever humans can imagine, they can usually create. Girl, if that ain't a daggone word, girl. I was like, nah, I'm over here getting a little sermon on the side. Hey, sister cousins, welcome to my channel. I'm Lady C, and I'm here to tell you how I feel. Like and subscribe if you're new, and run it up in the comments. Let me know you stopped by. Now, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to talk about Severance, Season 1, Episode 1.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Now, today's episode is titled Good News About Hell. And girl, let me tell you, one thing about AppleTV is that they will never miss an opportunity to be extremely dramatic and weird, all right? But I'm here for it. So, we open up today's episode. We have this redhead lady laying on a conference room table. She wakes up by a voice over the intercom, kind of giving Charlie's Angels, but I digress. The man over the intercom asks her questions, pretty personal questions that she should know in a regular setting. However, she is unable to answer them. One, because she doesn't really want any parts of it, so she kind of fights back a little bit, but she finally agrees to go ahead and play along. She answers the questions. However, all of the questions except for one gets an actual answer. The rest are unknown. So finally, the door opens. It's a shadow of a man, and he's like, listen, you got a perfect girl. And she's like, girl, what? We skip on over to this man crying in the car. It looks like it's the same man that was the shadow figure. And girl, he is boohoo crying in his car. And so he finally gets himself together. He walks towards this building. It's looking like he's walking into work. And I kind of started to change my mind on believing that it was work, because the way he looked at the lady at the front desk kind of gave like he was either there for an interview or like an appointment. But he finally gets checked through. He goes to the elevator. No, he goes to the locker room. In the locker room, he switches his clothes. So I'm like, oh, okay, so he must work here because he's able to have a locker, right? So finally, girl, he changes his stuff. But what's weird about it is, girl, he changes his watch from his personal watch to the watch that is in the locker. He changes name tags. And I'm like, that's odd. Like, why would you have two different name tags? So I clocked that, but then he gets to the elevator. There's a security guard right outside the elevator. And again, he has this kind of like somber look on his face, but everybody don't have to show up to work happy, I guess, right? As soon as he gets on the elevator, it's like this weird click. Something happens and he changes. So he gets off the elevator looking like he's happy to be here. He walks this super long hallway, and at this point, we are about 9.5 minutes through the episode, and I'm not going to lie to you. I was ready to turn the TV off. Some things happen. Well, not something. One thing happens. He pulls out of his pocket a Kleenex, and he's like, oh, girl, this is ghetto. Let me throw this in the trash. So he throws it in the trash, but then 5 seconds later, I noticed that he starts sniffling and, clearing his throat. So I'm like, well, girl, if you knew you was not really feeling well, like, why would you throw the Kleenex away? But it looks like he's not even aware that he either is coming on with the code or that he has a code to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So he gets to the office and he's met by coworkers, right? And so during this time, he's having a little friendly banter with two of his coworkers. And it's not really much going on. What looks to be a supervisor walks in. He asks for Mark. That is his name, Mark Scott. And so he says, Mark, come with me to meet up with what looks to be like the boss or manager. They have a little exchange and he gets promoted. And he was like, what about Petey? And she was like, listen, Petey is no longer with us. Don't ask any more questions about him. You're promoted. Congratulations. Would you like a handshake? And I was like, wait. Would you like a handshake? This seems kind of like awkward. You know what I'm saying? Like most times when you promote somebody, you just offer a handshake. But it's very cookie cutter, kind of like Stepford Wives type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, girl, he goes in to do his first task as acting chief of this department. Now we marry together the first scene with this. And he is the voice behind the intercom. However, during his script, he missed a few steps, which is why the lady freaked out, and she was not supposed to freak out. So finally, he walks into the room, and girl, she is livid. She goes ahead and hits him in the head with the daggone intercom.
I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
So he tries to smooth things out. However, she is still not having it. She asks to leave. However, once they make it to the hallway, he tells her, listen, this is where I leave you. You go ahead and go this way. So she's like, all right, bet, I'm out of here. So then, girl, once she gets to the door, from the window, it looks like a stairwell outside, and she pushes the door open. Girl, she's in a whole nother hallway. But then she turns around and she looks at that window, and it's the same stairwell. So then she pushes and she's back in a hallway. So she kind of has like a little bit of back and forth. And finally, girl, she comes back like, well, I am a little curious, like, what's going on? So she's asking him questions as they make their way to the boss. They had to put a little bandage over Mark's head. So the boss is like, listen, girl, here's your name. Your name is Haley. Look at this DVD. We're going to show you a video. Once the supervisor takes Miss Mama's on back to the office, girl, the boss is livid with Mark. Like, girl, this is your first day and you already messing up the daggone church's money, all right? So she references her mom and she says something. I had to write it down because, girl, I cannot remember verbatim, but I wrote it down, so let me read it to you. My mother was an atheist, and she said there's good and bad news about hell. The good news is hell is the product of a morbid human imagination, okay? The bad news is whatever humans can imagine, they can usually create. Girl, if that ain't a daggone word, girl. I was like, nah, I'm over here getting a little sermon on the side, girl. So back in the office, girl, we have Hallie sitting down watching a video of herself, pretty much saying that she consented to have a surgery, which is called the Severance surgery. So when you're at home, you're not really going to know any information about work, and when you're at work, you're not going to remember anything about your home life, right? So she's like, girl, I cannot believe that I did this. So now she's asking questions like, girl, like, am I ever going to be able to leave up out of here? Mark was like, girl, yeah, you could leave at 5 o'clock. So, girl, 5 o'clock rolls around. They get ready to leave. As he's going down the elevator, you can pretty much see whatever memories he held on the top floor is now kind of vanishing. And he's back to the locker room, switching out his clothes. And, oh, wait. I forgot to mention that Petey is a name that seems important in this episode because when he went for his promotion, he's taken the place of Petey. And Petey seemed to be very close because they mentioned, like, I know y'all was close, but girl, he is out of here, girl, he fired. When he was giving this girl her orientation, she asked why she was there, and he said that she was a replacement. So she's replacing Petey because the 4-person cubicle in the beginning was empty of space. You know what I'm saying? But as he's leaving, he almost hits Miss Mama's, and she's like, girl, watch where you going. And neither one of them realize or even recognize each other as somebody that they just literally spent all day with, right? So, girl, he gets home. He seems to have a pretty somber, boring life. And he gets on the phone with his neighbor like, girl, you done left your trash bins in my area and I can't put my trash bins outside tonight. It's recycle night, girl, not the trash night. Like, it's like a little, elderly neighbor to neighbor conversation. You know what I mean? So anyway, girl, a lady shows up at his door. It seems like his sister. And so they go to a dinner party, and he was like, well, girl, how is it a dinner party and ain't no dinner being served? And I would be so mad if somebody invited me to a non-dinner party, okay? Do not invite me to a dinner party, all right? So, girl, now we're at the dinner without dinner, and everybody's having a good time. And the conversation gets brought up about his old profession as a history professor. Everything is still pretty decent until they bring up Lumen. Girl, once they brought up Lumen in the severance procedure, girl, the room grew still. And when I tell you all type of conversational chaos ensued, baby, it was crazy, bombarded with all these questions. But then the brother-in-law steps in and says, well, listen, the procedure may be ethically, socially, morally wrong, but you know what? I support you. Mark is looking at his sister like, girl, why did you bring me here? So later on in the evening, the sister was like, listen, my bad, girl. Like, I was just trying to get you out of the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, charge my head, not my heart, okay? She tells him he's going to spend the night. He spends the night, girl. He gets up to go get a drink of water. And, baby, when I tell you somebody was outside. Now, this is dead in the winter because it's all kind of snow outside. So I'm like, okay, girl, like, what's supposed to go on? Like, are they trying to rob him or what? He walks outside like the brave heart he is. It's an old man in a suit, and he's like, all right. And so, girl, he looks up, and he's gone. So then the next day, he tells his sister, like, girl, you know, it was somebody outside of your house. Like, what's going on? And she was, like, kind of dismissing the whole situation, thinking that it was maybe one of the neighbors or whatever. Oh, so remember when he got clocked over the head? Girl, they put an envelope in his pocket pretty much explaining why he got the Band-Aid on his head. And they gave him a coupon to the Sizzler girl. So fast forward, he is down there. He gets a phone call. It's the elderly lady asking about the trash bins again. He's met at the table, and the person at the table is the same man from the other night. He says to him, like, listen, girl, I was fired. They're after me. Here's an envelope. Read it when you get somewhere quiet. He goes outside to his car, reads the note in the envelope disguised under a birthday card, and was like, listen, girl, it's some things that's going on, but don't trip. Just meet me at this address, okay, girl? Like, if you really want to know what's going on. But then his car pulls up behind him in the parking lot, and he was like, girl, like, who is this? But he keeps it cute, and girl, he drives home. Now, he gets home, and the elderly lady seems to have gotten it together with the trash bins, right? And he brings his trash outside, and so as he's walking towards the house, girl, it's the elderly lady. We don't see her face, and I'm thinking, like, what if it's that lady that's her boss? Because her voice, she mentions her mom again. She was like, let me read to you. She says, it takes the saints 8 hours to bless a sleeping child. Hope you aren't rushing the saints, right? So all of this is another parable / Easter egg that we at this point know nothing about or don't know what's supposed to happen next. But then it turns out, as I confirmed in my brain, it's the lady from his job. And mind you, the neighborhood that they all live in is kind of like, once again, this Stepford, everything's identical. So anyway, girl, that's pretty much the end of the episode, and now we're going into the next episode. Girl, I said a whole lot of things. I might have skipped around, I might have missed some details, but I hope you got the gist. Do I like this show? Absolutely, girl. I am locked in. I cannot wait to get to the next episode because, girl, this is the kind of weird I like. I'm a weirdo. Like, I like stuff like this. I like my little folklore, witchy witch stuff, but I like this type of sci-fi. Now, I'm not really into the alien type of thing. Like, maybe a little Marvel more so, but not so like, not like the Star Wars kind of alien stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to try to get there, girl. Like, he's working on me, girl. I'm growing up. So anyway, girl, like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you really about that life. And girl, leave me some comments. Tell me what you think about Severance episode 1. Do not tell me anything about the next episode, girl. I am literally watching this with fresh eyes, okay? I'm a little late to the party, and that's all right. That's my business, all right? So let me call y'all back later because I'm going to go watch the next episode. All right, bye.